Welcome, everyone. Thanks for joining the Ampscript Bootcamp. And today is the fourth session in our Ampscript Bootcamp. So we have a lot of great content lined up for you with all the awesome speakers. And here's our bootcamp schedule. We have completed 3 sessions with an overview of all the basics and the basic functions. And today, Sabuhi is going to give an overview of the functions related to the sites and the API functions. And he have a lot of great content to share. And also, I want to give a huge shout out to Sabuhi for his latest Ampscript 30 challenge. So it's a challenge wherein you can maybe Sabuhi can give more details about that, but this is something which I found interesting and something which will be beneficial for anybody who wants to learn the Ampscript. So for this bootcamp, the next 5 sessions, the next coming session is by Robert Cameron, which is next Tuesday. So please change the note in the please note the change in the timings. It is going to be 9 p.m. Eastern, unlike the other sessions which happen at 12 p.m. Eastern. So the next session is going to be at 9 p.m. Eastern, and all the other following sessions will be held at the same timing as 12 p.m. Eastern. So the next sessions, we will dive into the other functions, the math and content functions, and then the string functions, the encryption functions, and then we will dive deeper into some use cases. We are going to use all the functions that we have covered during the previous sessions, and using those functions, we're going to create some functionality, and we're going to take some use cases and then dive into that.
I think we lost you. Oh, okay, you're on mute.
Yeah, so this bootcamp, I want to give a shout out to all the speakers. We have put in a lot of efforts to bring these sessions to you, and I want to bring to your attention that we all have full-time jobs and we do have some personal life, but we are already also spending a lot of time to bring the best content to you, to make sure that you get the most out of it. And also, as we demo these, as we talk about these topics and demo with a use case, we would strongly recommend you to go and practice that in your MCR. If you don't have the MCR, try it out with the MC snippets. And if you have any question or if you're lost somewhere and you want us to repeat, please don't hesitate to let us know. And we are here to help you. And this bootcamp is intended to help you. So we would be happy to learn that you have learned something new today or in the whole session or in the bootcamp. So any question, put that out. No question is a bad question. And if you have any questions after the session as well, be part of the Slack channel and post your question there. So we will get back to you with your answers. And all the sessions are recorded and they will be uploaded to the YouTube channel, Trailblazing Together. And if you want to rewatch or if you have missed any of the previous sessions or anything which we have done before, we can go and find the playlist and you can watch those recordings. With that, I am going to introduce our speaker of the day, Sabuhi. I'm so inspired by what he has been doing for the community. And this is all like a free work, like we are not getting paid for any of this. So this is all intended to help you all. So a big shout out and a huge thank you to you, Sabuhi, for all your efforts. So I'll not take much time. I will turn it over to you. So please go ahead and introduce. Thank you, Sabuhi.
So a couple of few introduction and we will jump right away. So my name is Sabuhi. I have in some places you will see I'm a Seb as my name says in the Zoom. Just make it easier for people to spell my name and don't try to spell my last name. It's much harder. I have 10 plus year experience in marketing automation. I am both marketing cloud and product consultant. I've been working with multiple marketing automation tools, and for the last 5-6 years, I was actively using marketing cloud and product. And I'm practice lead at Cloud Kettle. I have a big team who is working with the client, Fortune 500 clients. I'm also leading the Halifax Marketer Group community group. Yeah, we have great session coming up, so make sure to tune in. And also, thank you for Josh for shout out, founder of Ampscript 30. At the beginning, I mentioned maybe some of you didn't join. There will be more things coming up in terms of the 30-day challenges. We started with Ampscript 30. but we have already the more than 1,200 registrations. So that means there is more need for use cases for community to learn, and we are putting our time to deliver best content. So there will be new content coming up, new challenge coming up for account engagement, aka Pardot, and there will be another after that SQL 30. So if you are using actively SQL in Marketing Cloud and you want to get the challenge for a 30-day, yeah, but that will be follow up me on LinkedIn, follow CloudKettle on LinkedIn. One of us actively is going to post it. And if you already signed up for Ampscript 30 as well, I will send a quick reminder to everyone too, so they get the first opportunity to sign up and take the course. Next, what we are going to review today, we are going to review site functions. We will do some use cases, how each function is being used. Of course, we are not going to cover all the functions because there are a lot, and this time is not going to permit for us to go one by one all of them. Instead, I picked the ones that almost 90% of the time that we are using from those functions. And like you, I'm going to actually show example use case from Ampscript 30 course where almost we are using all site functions now of the challenges. So if you haven't already taken the challenge, it will be familiar to you. If not, kind of it will tell you the how it can get harder closer to the end of the challenge. We will deep dive a little bit on the API functions. Use of API functions in terms of the Ampscript on the email is a little bit less. You will use more cloud pages, and there are like, yes, it's possible with Ampscript, but most likely you will do with SSJs if you know. And we will do a few use cases. We will recap and leave some QA. And I will do my best to, when we review the code, go one by one to explain what we did. We may go actually highlight a few functions that we are not covering today, but it's good to know. And again, at any point, if you have any questions, just let me know. So what are the site functions? It usually, if you have a Marketing Cloud page, it allows you to interact with that cloud page. So that's like, as the name states, it's a site function. So it enables you, if you send someone from an email to a landing page, your Ampscript on the landing page can identify what you sent into a landing to cloud page and retrieve the information. Additionally, once you get the information from a user, from a query string on a cloud page, you can redirect. And it's usually the way it's used, if you want to momentarily to capture something from a user and redirect them to a different place. Or you are going to use a cloud page for some kind of a microsite where it can process data. And once you process the data, you can just send them to a different page as a thank you page. We will see an example. And another benefit, and it's most commonly used, is if someone submits the form, you're able with Ampscript to get the information what's being submitted. So when the page refreshes, you can just quickly grab that information even before it refreshes and customize your content, what you would like to deliver on the page. So the key site functions, you have cloud page URL. This is what you are going to use most of the time. So what does it do? It's a simple solution that enables you to link cloud page or landing page in your Marketing Cloud with a simple function. Format of the function is cloud page URL. 1 to 3 is the ID of the cloud page that you are going to retrieve. And you can find it under page properties when you go to cloud pages. And the arguments, you can have multiple arguments. The first one is required because that's the exact ID of the page that you are going to retrieve. So you have to add there. But additionally, you can pass variables. So in this example, N1 is a parameter name included in the encrypted query string. Something I forgot to mention, when you create a URL with a cloud page URL, it automatically adds the query string, and you can retrieve subscriber key based on the information available, or you can add additional parameters to that arguments to that URL. For example, if you want to parse first name, status, or last name, age, NPS data, that's the example that we are going to have, you can have all of them appended as an argument. And when an end user gets the email, they click on the email, they go to the landing page, in behind the scenes, you are able to retrieve that data from that URL. An example use case I give here, For example, in this cloud page URL, we are passing a first name as a parameter, and at the same time, status as well. And this will be almost like number one. If you haven't used yet, if you're dealing with a cloud page, definitely this is the one that you should use. There's so many use cases for using a cloud page URL. The next two functions, they're actually a little bit similar, but there's like slight difference. So query parameter, this function if you're on a cloud page, retrieves a value from a URL query string based on defined parameter key. And the parameter key is what you pass on cloud page URL function. So in this case, you say query parameter and that expects that and passed as an argument in a cloud page URL function. And in a sample use case, you will set the status of the user and you will say, you know what, go and query parameter and, because and whatever value I will get from the n parameter is going to be my value for status. Next, request parameter, it's almost identical. The main difference that with request parameter, you're able to retrieve the form field values. So if someone submits the form, and for example, they use the first name as a name of that input field, and the way you submit the form, you're able to capture that information and process it on a cloud page and display what you would like. You can have a conditional section. For example, if someone submit the country Canada or Canada United States, you would like to have a maybe custom content for that specific user and for that region. So you can customize that way. And example use case, and usually you are going to use a if statement. So you would like to detect if a user submitted a form. So we are going to use a request parameter submitted is true. That means that, hey, user actually submitted the form. Then we are going to set the, for example, this is a little bit a mistake here, why we will set the email with the first name. So for example, we will set the email, the field request parameter email. So ignore the first name there. And if we will close, or you can continue capturing all the information submitted by a user and then process it. And the next, before we jump on the use case, next function is going to be redirect function. If you're familiar with the working with a cloud page, or you would like to build some kind of intermediary data processing page, and when someone comes to clicks on the link in the email, they come to a landing page, you quickly process that data, update the data extension, but later on, you don't want the user stay there, but instead you would like to send them to, for example, to a page on your website. So that's where you will use the redirect, and it captures one parameter, and that parameter is only the page where they have to go. In this example, what we are doing, for example, let's say on a landing page, we process some data. When you click a link, we go and update a data extension. We capture when you click the link. And then after that, we would like to display a thank you page. And that thank you page lives on our different page, like it's not within a cloud page. So we can send the user to thank you page. But at the same time, you can be a little bit creative. You can append the first name to that URL. So you can use simple JavaScript on your website to display, hey X, hey Adrian, thank you for updating your subscriptions, etc. So that's the way. Or alternatively, you can use a track a source. So if you would like to, if you have some kind of a GA4 or Google Analytics tag that kind of reads the based on a thank you page, you can pass it in the URL, and with Google Analytics, you can grab the source where the persons came from. So that's the one use case. So let's dive in side function use cases. And this is going to be example from Ampscript 30 course. So Next Design is an interior design company specializing in custom homes and commercial buildings. They plan to send the NPS survey to clients after completing the project to measure their satisfaction with their services. A marketer, it can be you, has been tasked with creating an email that includes NPS rating, direct customers to a landing page, provide feedback. Before I start and then go to use case, there are dedicated platforms who will do the NPS survey, and that's fine to use them. But at the same time, if you have a small NPS survey before you would like to make a significant investment to a kind of survey platform, Marketing Cloud can enable actually you to capture your survey responses, and you can build it within the Marketing Cloud. So we will jump in on the code. We will review the code line by one. First, we will start with the email. I will show you what are the kind of cloud page URL function we use there, and then we will jump on a landing page. We will see how both query parameter and request parameter are being used. Okay. So let me dive in there. 1 second. From the email, I believe I'm trying to organize my screen. So let's go back to content. So can you, oh, you still can't see my screen. Let's see, I may reshare that window. Share. Are you able to see my Marketing Cloud screen? Can someone?
Yes, we can, Sabuhi.
Okay,
but
perfect.
It's a bit tiny. The font is tiny. You may want to zoom in a
Okay.
bit.
Okay, cool. So I hope it's good. Is it better?
Yes, it's better.
Okay, perfect.
Thank you.
So this is the email, what we have, and it's a part of the Ampscript 30 challenge. What we're trying to do here, we are going to, let me go scroll back just to show the kind of example of the code that we have. So we are setting the email subscriber key, first name, last name, and the server URL. The server URL that we have here is actually Cloud page URL. And we have we are going to concatenate and use the concat function to append some values. So let's scroll down, the standard V function, we are displaying the full name. Here, what we are going to do, we are running, so we are setting a survey count. It will start from 0, and we will go up to 10. And then every time for loop runs, we are going to increase by 1. And at the end, this is what we have. So we are using Cloud page URL. And this is the function, site function I just covered. We are using redirect to. Every time you're dealing with the variables in the URL, as a best practice, put the redirect to there, just to make sure that your variables render properly when you go to Cloud page. So what we do here, that's the number of our Cloud page. Let's come here, just to make sure. So this is the ID of the Cloud page. We are passing 2 parameters, okay? One, the subscriber key, and grabs the subscriber key of the user. And we are reading this from Extendable Data Extension. And then we have a parameter called NPS and the value of this server account. What does it mean? Every time we generate a link, that NPS is going to be increased by 1. And this line that we have is going to be repeated 10 times. And every time server count is going to say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 till 10. So let's go and just preview our email just to show how it works. Close here. And because my screen is next preview. Here you go. Because we had a for loop and it ran 10 times, we identified that, hey, you start with 1, go to up to 10. So we have URL of the Cloud page for each link, and each of them we will have value of NPS. If I click on the 4, the query string will have that parameter. Of course, it is it's going to be hidden. It will have a value of 4. NPS value we will have 5, 6, and so on. So let's go and click one of. Oh, actually, before I go, let me go to landing page, show the logic, and we come back here. So let me see. I will try to zoom in a little bit more. So what we do here, and that's where we are going to dive in using the query parameter or requester parameter. As I said, query parameter is able to go and read the kind of argument and the parameter we set on the URL and set it as a value. So here we declared the variable subscriber key NPS feedback survey. And when the page loads, so we set the NPS and we are going to check, hey, what's the value of that NPS parameter in the URL? So we are using a query parameter and we will set the NPS. Second, we are going to retrieve the subscriber key and we are using a query parameter. And we are doing a feedback, and this is what we are going to use on a form submission. So that's why we have a feedback, and we do set the survey to survey, and we have NPS. So we have some kind of we would like to display a label, because one thing that you will do in an NPS survey, if people give the more rate, you would like to ask them, hey, you are satisfied with our services. What do you like about our service? Because and the benefit of this, you can collect them as a testimonial from your prospects, from your customers, and get them a thank you letter or make a reach out. Your sales rep can reach out. Or alternatively, if NPS score is not if it's not greater than 9, if it's greater than 9, we're happy you are satisfied. If not, then we are sorry that we couldn't delight you. We could have done differently to improve your experiences. So if you are giving a lower score, for example, 2, then they will see a different message. And this is our first if statement. Then this is where we check if you submitted or not. So if you submitted the form and it's true, then because first we display the form, but if you submit the form, we would like to capture your feedback and your NPS score in a data extension. And in this use case, we are updating a survey survey data extension, and we will update with your subscriber key NPS rating at the same time your feedback. And if everything goes well, data is updated, we will display a thank you message saying that thank you for participation. So that's our kind of second if statement to set these variables. So if I scroll down, the one thing we check here on this page is, hey, if subscriber key empty, is most likely a person came from a different URL, or this URL was shared, or somehow they find this server URL. So we display a message called the link has expired. It's possible link is forwarded to you, or if you didn't click the link from email, because that means that query string is not available in the URL. And then we display a success message if they successfully entered, or we observe data. And this is the kind of our form, and we display hidden fields on the form. Here we automatically, so if you come here, I read the NPS from a query string, and if I come here, it's passed as a hidden field. So we don't want to give an end user to manipulate their NPS rating just on the page, because they already clicked the link from the email. And then we are also passing subscriber key as a hidden field, and we are giving some text area for them to provide their feedback. And the feedback field is here. And there's and if. So let's go back to the email and grab one of them. So let's go grab complete link address. And I come to this page. Hopefully you can still see are you able to see the landing page?
Yes, it came up.
Okay, perfect. So what we say here, we are sorry that we couldn't delight you. What could we have done differently to improve your experience? Alternatively, I can go back to the email and say, hey, I give the rating 10 and come here. And it says, hey, we are happy you are satisfied. So if I go and say inspect element and I go to behind the scenes and I come here, you will see that submitted value is true. I'm hoping that you can see the console log. Submitted value true. We see the NPS value 10. That's what we captured. And we are also able to see that subscriber key is 9083. Okay. And if I come here and say, hey, you have a create service. Submit. Boom. Thank you for your participation. So what happened here in the behind the scenes in the data extension? Hopefully, I can go and grab that data extension for you so I can show. So survey. Let's go to records. Yes, this is the what we just entered, and the subscribing is here, NPS score, and I have the great service. And if I go back, and I believe this is the one that we gave the rating for, please improve your service. Submit. And let's go back to the data extension. The survey. It may update the data extension because we use the same subscriber. So let's go back. Yes. So for the same subscriber, we have a new NPS score, and please improve your service. So just to kind of go back and highlight the functions we used. I know there were a lot of functions that I displayed on the page. Just go find the email. I went back to the, open the email first. And day 27. Content. So if I go back, kind of paraphrase what we did here. On this one, we use the cloud page URL site function that we covered. We passed the ID and additional parameters to the URL, so we can later on use them. And for the cloud page, we use the query parameter to read those keys that we passed in the URL. And later on, we use the request parameter to check if the form is submitted or not. Okay. I know I see some comments there. I will come back to the questions later. So let's kind of dive in on our next topic. We will have enough time to kind of chat about questions. Cool. Let's go next one. API functions. As I mentioned at the beginning, yes, they exist. In some cases, you will use the Ampscript API functions, but in most cases, you will deal with the SSJS versus using the Ampscript API functions because it covers some kind of flexibility. So API functions allow for interaction with the Marketing Cloud SOAP API with the context of microsite, cloud page, or mobile connect SMS message. They offer a little bit detailed interaction with the platform, but you have to add more code than your regular Ampscript because and in an example that I will share and the use case I will share, you will see lots of lines. If someone can do it, or you can do it with SSJS really faster versus doing it with Ampscript. But with Ampscript, it kind of captures everything in one code versus doing it in multiple places. It's important to know SOAP API objects and methods, particularly SOAP envelopes, and it's really useful to maximizing potential of these functions. Okay. So the main function that you are going to use, and this is listed under API function in Salesforce website, but it's kind of utility that you need to have under your belt. So this function will raise an error in a string and stop processing the job. And you can include additional parameter and argument in the URL, which will decide, hey, should we stop the send completely or for this specific user? Okay. So if you just put the raise error and you put the error code, and in our example here, it will say no appointment available. That code will be can be available. Sometimes you may not be able to see those records, so you can reach out to Marketing Cloud. He's like, hey, can I see this? Why we are getting if you are using the email, you have to reach out to Salesforce Marketing Cloud, kind of see those error messages. So the first one, I don't know. I think there's a when I copy pasted, I think there's a mistake here I made. So it's an error message that you will display. It's going to be displayed in example, no points available. And then the most important one, the second argument, whether a function skips send for current subscriber or continues. So it will skip the first one and then continue to the next subscriber in the email queue, or you would like to cancel your full send. So you will use a true that will make only cancel for that user and then move on to the next subscriber. API function use cases, few of them, I haven't listed all of them. Create an object, you will mostly use it when you are kind of running your the API function. Returns a new Marketing Cloud Web Services API object. You will set the object property. So what are the things that you will append to that object, and then you have add object array item, appends an object to an array of an API object. I know I am using lots of API object, but unfortunately that's the that's the terminology we have to use. And usually at the end of your API Ampscript function, you are going to have invoke update that will grab the object that you created with the create object, all the information you entered with the set object property, and collect everything together and pass it, and then create perform that API call through Cloud Page to Marketing Cloud, and it can be updating single subscriber. It can be updating your data extension. There's so many kind of objects available that you can play with. Okay. First example I'm going to show the raise error that we have in one of our challenges that we did on one of the challenges. For this one, so we are sending. If I go back to the slide and see. Okay, let's do the simple use case for this one. I know the other one's a little bit more complicated. So what we are checking here in this code, this is the email where we will try to provide available services to customers based on their mileage. Okay, if the customer is not eligible for any service, we don't want to send them any blank email. So instead, we would like to skip the email for this user. So if there is no service count, if it's greater than 0, then we will display all the services. If not, we will going to make a raise error and say no rows found and make it true. So that means we are not going to send this email for this subscriber if that subscriber is not eligible for any services. So and then we will skip email and we will go next subscriber. And this challenge is the day 25 challenge in the Ampscript course. You can kind of go and see the data extension required, or you can copy paste the email template, create your version of the email for yourself as well. Okay. Next, let's move on a use case demonstration. And this is, so as part of their customer relationship management, a telecommunication company aims to keep their subscriber data up to date by adding or updating information to a data extension. So every time they perform some kind of action on a page, on a cloud page, they would like to update the data extension. And this will typically done after a form has been completed by a subscriber. Before I dive in and we review the code, I would like to give give shout out to Ivan. He has a blog post where he highlighted 5 ways adding and updating your records. And actually I'm using his code and added some bunch of content for this session. Yes, you can use this approach to update or add in one single method. And it's just but it's long and complex. So if you do make a mistake somewhere on your code, you have to kind of raise function and see, hey, in which line I made an error, so to see what's happening. So it's harder to debug, it's long and complex, but if this is the only option, you don't want to deal with SSGS, or you don't want to use some other Ampscript function, and that's the only thing available to you, please go ahead, use that. But keep in mind that code looks really long. and yeah, it's kind of a little bit complex way addressing and updating a record in Marketing Cloud. Okay. And let's go and find that tab. Oh, actually, it's here. So as you see, it is 56 line, just update one record in a data extension. So let's start with the top. Here, we're just manually setting the subscriber key, email address, first name and last name. Next, we are going to create a data extraction object and using create object. So in most cases, you are going to use a create object because you first need to create the object and add there, set the object properties and grab those properties and use another function to add to properties array. So we go here. First, we are going to create a data extension object with a create object function. Next, we are going to create API property object that sets the properties and represents the subscriber key. So for here, we will do this in this code 4 times. We are continuously repeating this. And we are creating this for subscriber key and then using properties array. So add object property item to add to object that we created here at the top. And this will be repeated for email address, first name, and the last name. And next, we have to define we have to create the update option object. Again, we are using the create object, and we are creating both update option and save options. We're setting the property of save action. Sorry, we are updating a save action property with update and add. What does it mean? When a record is added to when this function runs, this API call runs, we are going to both update and add in a customer data extension that we defined here. So we have let's go back. We have a customer's data extension. Next, save option object is set to asterisk. I used X, but just to process that, indicating that all fields should be updated. So anything that we pass here, the subscriber key, email, first name, last name should be updated. We should update. And if there's a new information, all those fields should be updated. And then we are using, again, add object array item to add the save option array of the update options object. There are so many objects I used. And the last, we are going to use invoke update function. That's going to passing the data passing in the data extension object, the status message error code, and update options as parameters. So this is update options captures everything that we would like to do with that API call. And at the end, we are going to display a status message, what happened. And for this example, I can just go change because I already did it with 1 to 1. Let's go to John Doe. Let's go back. Let's say, so sometimes when you make a schedule and publish on this one, just 1 second, let me see if I can see the icon, publish button. Go back again just to show the error message. You may get this error message. First I fixed out, I said something wrong with the code, but actually it's normal. It seems when you go to the real page, that create object function is going to perform and you're not going to get error. Actually, that's the case. There was a post from Elliot back, I believe like a year ago about this. So let's go grab this URL. What should we expect? When I run this code in the URL, we should have a new row in a customer's data extension with the information that provided with here, with the subscriber key, email address, and the first name, last name. Let's give it a try and hopefully it happens. Okay, so status upsorted data exception object. So we made the update on a data extension. And let's go back and find that data extension, see where I saved that. So data extensions. Oh, Bootcamp is here. And customers. Go to records. Here you go. So with the API call from the page, we're able and go and update the customer's data extension in Marketing Cloud side. Okay, let's go back. So I think that's we have 15 minutes. Again, are there better ways doing this without having this long content on a cloud page? Definitely, yes. I will highly recommend to go and check the blog post, but it's always better to know that there's like these options available for you when you are dealing with the data extensions, or if you would like to kind of play with the API calls. So the next couple of resources we have here, as we mentioned at the beginning, please go ahead. If you haven't signed up for Ampscript 30. Ampscript Guide is great. Some other channels, like all the information here. And if you sign up for Ampscript 30 on a daily basis, when you receive, you have a kind of, we give a shout out to a really cool website, or the blog post owner, or trailblazers that really put together great content for everyone. So we try to our best to give a shout out on each challenge. Yeah. So I will go back to some of the questions that you answered or asked.
Hi, Sabuhi. Thanks
Go
for a
ahead.
detailed and
No
engaging
worries.
session. This is really wonderful. So I have been monitoring the chat. So
Yeah.
only one question that is left to answer is,
Yeah.
when you were demonstrating I think it's the Cloud Pages URL or the query parameter, wherein
Yeah.
in the loop, you have this NPS parameter listed.
Yeah.
So in that parameter, if no comment is submitted on the landing page, we were to submit some comment, and that will be tracked in the NPS variable, I guess. So if no comment is submitted, will NPS still be
we will just, no, if no comment is submitted, we will just grab their NPS score and that's it. So they can people ignore sometimes. They're like, okay, I don't want to provide a feedback. When they submit, even if they don't submit, I believe we still capture their rating to Cloud Page. But if they submit, we go update same thing with their comment. So nothing is being lost. When they come to a Cloud Page, we capture the NPS score. But once when they fill out, we gonna update. So we go and update same subscriber.
That helps. Thank you.
Yeah.
And I think there's some question about the claim row, if that can be used in the Cloud Pages. I think that is used in the data extension. Oh, go ahead.
Yes, I believe so. I think, I mean, there was a different version of that one. I mean, someone shared a link to, I believe so. Yeah. So
claim row, I think it can be used in the data extension to
exactly,
get the value from a specific row.
exactly. So yeah. The only thing that keep in mind, whenever you use the claim row, you have enough rows available. And if you are using a promo code, or have a error handling in place, just in case all claim rows are exhausted, you can have some default content.
That's a great example.
Yeah.
And one of the questions, Abuhi, even I was meaning to ask you this. So can you share the code that you have used in the email? So what we can do is, if not, that is already part of your challenge. If you can share, what we can do is we can remove the parameters and just give the whole code with the function at the appropriate place, but remove the parameters. So anybody who is trying to learn, they will learn what parameters to use and the syntax and all that is required.
Oh, definitely. No, definitely. I have no problem. Actually, it's a little bit tricky. How many people we have here? I'm not going to tell everyone. So we are not using any login system on Ampscript 30. I don't want to overcomplicate experience or ask people to enter a password. So once you finish the course, all the content is available. What I'm going to do, for each challenge, we have a solution. Joshua, I will give you the solution pages, and in that solution pages, people can go and see both the email code and the landing page code as well. So that's fine. So either if you took a course or not, I will still, if you haven't taken, I will still highly encourage you to take it. But if not, we are going to provide the solution pages. where you can access both email and landing page code.
That's awesome. If we can link it to your website or any other resource, then they can go directly to that place and access it there. That also
exactly.
works.
Yeah.
So we're all excited to know about the upcoming challenges. So the Marketing Cloud 30 or the Account Engagement 30 or the SQL 30. So many more to come, I hope. So
definitely.
Where
just
can
follow,
we keep an eye
follow
out?
me on LinkedIn. Follow me on LinkedIn. If you already signed up for Ampscript 30, I will send the email to everyone who is in that audience. We are going to launch beta invites for Marketing Cloud 30. Marketing Cloud 30 is going to a website, and under that website, we are going to have different challenges. Like I'm going to have different challenges. So just follow me on LinkedIn. Or CloudCattle. Again, if you're already signed up, you will receive a notification. Once I publish the invite for beta users, like I would like to few people to test and give a feedback so we can improve for others. There will be a sign up form on marketingcloud30.com. So you can also sign up there. If you are not on a beta list, then you will 100% get that when we open to a public.
That's great. I don't see any other questions here. So
awesome.
Thanks for joining, everyone. And if you have any questions, post them in the Slack channel. And thank you very much, Sabuhi, for this wonderful session. And we look forward to watching.
Thank you so much for getting these great people together. Like they're great speakers.
Bye. Thank you so much.
So definitely I encourage you to continue.
We usually, sorry, on the webinar.
Oh, go ahead, Sabuhi.
Yeah, I mean, again, make sure to attend all the sessions. And again, I know for Cameron it's a little bit early, so make sure you join his 9 p.m. call as well, because we should respect his early morning from Australia. So hopefully everyone will make his call as well.
Thanks for the reminder, Sabuhi. Thanks again, everybody, and hope you have a good one. Take care. See you again next week. Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.